Let's go on a road trip. In the middle of June, I left my home in the Bay Area and drove about 5 hours north. I had been imagining this moment in my head for so long that it felt like it had imprinted on my brain as only a fantasy. But here I finally was, crossing into Pacific Northwest territory. It didn't quite feel real. And I was alone. Hello, and welcome to the video. I'm currently like 5 hours outside of my hometown, sitting in my car. I have like black covers all over every window, and I want to introduce you guys to the next adventure. So for a really long time, I've wanted to do a road trip up through Oregon and Washington, and potentially all the way up into Canada. And like the timing just never really worked out. I was gonna go literally a year ago, like that was the plan, and I just felt like I was putting it off. I don't know, I kind of wanted to go with somebody, you know, but honestly, like I had all these things in mind that like I specifically wanted to do, and I also really wanted to film. And when I'm with people, like when I'm with my friends and family, like I don't want to just be like filming the whole time. Like I need that to be like separate from socialization time. Like I don't want to be that person like with the camera all the time. And at the end of the day, I realized like I need to do this alone. I kind of just felt like I was waiting on somebody else to do something that I wanted to do. And I hate that position so much. I feel like I always get caught in that where I'm like just waiting for somebody else to be free so that I can do something that I want to do, like potentially with them, but like I could do it without them too, and I don't understand like why I'm just like putting these things off. So I'm finally taking action and doing things that I really want to do. Like if I keep waiting on other people to be available to like do these things with me, I'll never do it. And it just like this thing inside is eating away at me, like, oh man, like I should really do that, but I never do it. And it's so annoying, and I realize like I do have the power to make things happen. I don't have to wait for other people to do certain things. So while this trip is kind of risky, honestly, to do alone, I realize like this is totally possible, and it's really putting me out of my comfort zone, honestly. I've never done anything like this before. Like the longest I've ever driven by myself was like to LA and back. I drove just about as far today, and I'm only at stop number 1. And this is going to go on for 2 weeks. I'm going to be sleeping in my car for most of it. Yeah, so for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be recording the journey. And I honestly don't know, like, what's going to happen. So that's why I'm vlogging, which I never thought that I could do. And this is literally my first time ever talking to the camera, and it's really like so awkward. But I just really felt like this was the right way to tell this story, is like you, the viewer, coming along with me on this journey and kind of experiencing everything day to day as I'm experiencing it. I felt like if I did a video that was in retrospect where I just had a bunch of B-roll and then I did like a narration or something, I just didn't really know like what the video would be besides coming up with like a whole script or something. And I also really liked the idea of it being like a more informal video, because I feel like my first video was like so formal. And I guess that's kind of just how it ended up being, because it was more of like a video essay, and a lot of that footage was just B-roll, honestly, that I didn't really know how it was going to all fit together. And so, you know, luckily it did, but that's like kind of how it ended up coming together, you know, with the voiceover. And if you haven't watched that video, you should go watch it. It was the first YouTube video that I ever put out, and it kind of sets the tone for what this video is going to be, kind of like where I am in my mindset and my creative and personal journey. This is essentially the follow-up to that. So I'm really excited for this trip. I, again, don't know what's going to happen, and that's why I think it'd be really fun to just record the day today, see what happens, and I too do not know what is going to go down. I don't know what this video is going to end up being. It could be kind of crappy or really fun or really sad. I don't know. I have this anticipation inside that it's going to be kind of sad and lonely, and I'm really trying to not be in that mindset. That's honestly one of my biggest concerns going into this, is doing it and being like, yeah, I'm doing it by myself, and then being like, oh, but I'm alone. This is actually really sad. So I'm really hoping it's not going to be a sad and depressing vlog or video. And also, when I say video, I am not sure how much I'm going to film, and this may actually end up being a multi-part series. So if you are seeing this clip, if I leave this clip in, then it is definitely turning into a series, and you should stay tuned for more, because this is just the beginning. But all that being said, I am going to get ready for bed. It's probably about 9 o'clock, but I'm gonna get an early start. So I'm honestly just gonna pray that I fall asleep. I don't know if I will be able to, because this is just really weird. I can't believe I'm doing this. It honestly doesn't feel that real, at least not yet. So I hope you stay tuned. The journey will continue in the morning. So the next morning, I headed out to my next destination, Fern Canyon. After struggling to feel like this trip was real and actually happening, I took this morning to try and just drop into my body, to exist in the present, and to just enjoy this adventure and the amazing places I was gonna see. I was so apprehensive when I was planning everything out, thinking that something was gonna go wrong before I could even leave on the trip, but nothing went wrong, and I was finally here. Of course, now I was worried about the things that could go wrong while on the road, but that wasn't necessarily an inevitability. There should be nothing to hold me back from appreciating this moment and this gorgeous planet we live on. Good morning, everyone. I woke up this morning at the rest stop, and I just packed up and left as soon as I could, so I didn't film anything. And I made my way to a trail in the redwoods called Fern Canyon, and it was so fucking gorgeous. So you walk down this riverbed, and then there's ferns on the rocks on either side of the river, and it's so gorgeous. I got there pretty early in the morning on a pretty treacherous road. I didn't know it was gonna be so rough. I knew it was unpaved, but there's a couple parts where you literally have to drive through a river. And I'm working with a Chevy sedan, so I was not prepared for that and was honestly just so nervous that the car wasn't gonna make it. I'm like, fuck, I can't take the car out this early in the game, but I just went for it because this is something that I've really wanted to see. This specific hike, I've seen it on Instagram a few times, and for some reason I thought it was in the Bay Area, but turns out it's 6 hours away. So I was driving right past up the 101, and I'm like, I gotta check it out, because when's the next time I'm gonna be up here? I don't know. So I gotta just take advantage, you know? So I did the hike. It was freaking awesome. There were not that many people when I got here at first, but now it's starting to get crowded. So I gotta get the freak out of here. I gotta drive like 5 hours today. Actually, I've already done 1 hour today, so I gotta drive 4 hours. I have a campsite reservation tonight, so I'm gonna go up there. I'm already late, but you know, just as long as I show up, I got the spot. So I will see you all when I'm at the campsite, most likely. I don't have any more room left on my SD card, so I have to go pitch camp and download some shit. So, oh, and one more thing that I forgot to say. Yesterday, I had so much I wanted to say, and I just didn't get around to saying any of it because I was so panicked vlogging. But since this video is going to be a little bit more informal than my last video, I'm doing a mixture of filming with my phone and my camera because filming with the camera is just so much fucking work and I cannot set it up every time I want to film. And if I'm filming myself, I have to have like a external monitor attached to it so I can see if I'm literally in focus or like in frame. It's honestly so much work to film with that camera. So probably for a lot of the vlogging parts, I'm going to film with my phone, and I feel like that's just the easiest way. So anyways, I just wanted to put that out there in case anybody was wondering like what I was filming on. My iPhone 12 mini, which is what this is, and my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. So those are the two things I'm going to be using to film with on this trip. All right, that is it. I will see you guys soon. Hello, and welcome to my first official campsite on this trip. It's creepy as fuck. I feel like I'm gonna get murdered here, but I'm gonna spend the night here because I already spent money on it. So I just drove to my campsite and there's literally nobody else on this loop. So I kind of just looped around and was like, okay, let me see if there's anyone at the other one. And there's probably like 5 people on the other loop, and there's like over 50 campsites in this whole place. So that was strange, but I went back to my campsite, parked my car, and found out that all of the water is shut off everywhere. The spigots, the bathrooms are closed. There is a porta potty, so we can make that work. But I was gonna make like a cute little dinner, but I can't wash a bunch of pots and pans. So I had a yogurt, some granola, and some goldfish. That was my hot girl dinner. But it could be worse. I have this cute little campsite. It's not entirely private, but there's no one around, so that works out. And there's also some really cool sand dunes behind the campsite, so I'm gonna go shoot some stuff there. That was kind of the whole point of me coming to this campsite, is that it's right next to the Oregon sand dunes. So, oh yeah, I'm in Oregon, which is very weird. I haven't been here since I was 8 years old, so that was 2006. So that's just a weird, mind-boggling thing that I'm grappling with. Anyways, I just wanted to introduce the campsite. I'm downloading all of the stuff I have filmed so far on my other camera, and so I'm just waiting for that to be done, and then I'm gonna go look at some sand. All right, I'm gonna go check on the footage and get some sunset action. Let's freaking do this. I did not know what to expect once I walked up the hill behind my campsite. Lots of sand, yes, but you never know how a place is gonna actually make you feel until you're actually there. To interact with the environment, letting yourself feel any emotion it brings up within you. I felt such a strong pressure to accurately capture the sensation of awe I felt as I trudged through the sand. But I felt like the true magic of this place evaded the camera. It's a hard but necessary thing to accept that a camera can never capture how it feels to truly be in a space and really look at it all. To feel the depth and scale of the landscape. To feel that slight breeze pass through the air. To smell the ocean on the horizon. I love filmmaking and photography so much, but I feel like I'm so limited in what I so deeply desire to portray with this medium. Like, I wish I could create 40 movies of everything, but even that wouldn't quite be the same as physically being somewhere. And I was starting to wish that at least someone was here with me to know what it felt like to be in this place at this exact time. Hello, welcome back to my car in another creepy night light setting. So I went to the sand dunes and I did some video recording, and the whole time in my head I was hearing the Dune soundtrack. You know what I'm talking about. But it was really gorgeous. I've never seen sand like that before, honestly. Like, the sand is so soft, but it was so pretty. It was sunset, so I got some really cool sunset footage that I'm really excited to look back on and color grade, honestly. That's what I'm most excited about. But honestly, I felt like I was so concerned with getting like the right shots that I really didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. Like, I think also part of it is me struggling to be in the present moment a lot of times, and kind of being in a moment and being like, wow, this is such a magnificent moment, you know? But I have a hard time connecting to that sometimes, and I kind of felt like, even though I was in the presence of such otherworldly wonder of the world, I feel like I felt really distant from it. And I feel like as people, we kind of need to bounce back feelings between each other. You know, like you're sharing a moment and you have somebody to like verbalize how cool it is, how awful it is, you know, whatever. But somehow just like saying things out loud really helps elevate the sensation, I suppose. And it could be anything from like saying words, but it could also be exclaiming, you know, like without words, a sort of like gasp or something like that. Just any kind of vocalization to really like show how you feel. I feel like that's such a human thing, and I feel like when we're alone, maybe we don't do that as much, and we kind of keep those emotions just trapped inside. Like, we may feel really in awe of something, really amazed, but we kind of just like smile to ourselves, I guess. I don't know, maybe sometimes you will gasp to yourself, but I feel like in general we kind of just stay silent when we're alone. And that's ironic because I'm literally alone talking right now, but I don't do this. This is really weird for me. And something that I really want to work on is being able to vocalize how I feel more. And I guess that's starting with vocalizing to myself. I've never talked to myself really. Like, I don't really do that. I just really internalize everything in my head. And I feel like saying things out loud, even if it's just to yourself, has so much more of an impact than if you just said words in your head. And that could come in the form of anything really, like just talking about how you feel to yourself, or reading a list of manifestations or something like that, you know. I just feel like learning how to verbalize with yourself might even be harder than talking to other people sometimes. And I don't know why it's like that. You would think that talking to other people might be harder because you literally live with yourself, you are yourself, and there should be no shame in communicating with just yourself, you know? But I really struggle with that. And so part of the reason why I wanted to learn how to talk to the camera, my phone right now, is that I want to be more comfortable talking with myself and talking out loud to myself too, I guess. I know it sounds kind of stupid, but I really have noticed differences in when I say things out loud to myself versus when I just think them in my head. So going back to like manifestations or something, or affirmations, that's the word. Earlier this year, I wrote a list of affirmations and I just felt so strongly that I needed to read them out loud, and I've never felt that before. But I just felt like, you know what, just reading this in my head is not going to be enough. Like, I need to speak these things into existence. And it took a lot of work to hype myself up to actually say the words that I had written, which is crazy. You wouldn't think that it would really be that hard, but I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that has this problem, but I just feel like I just want to talk more. Not in an annoying way, hopefully, but I just want to hone my communication skills, I guess, starting with myself. So I hope it's going okay so far. I honestly have amnesia when it comes to talking to the camera. I don't remember what I have just said. I don't know where I'm going with anything. I'm just spewing words, and it's hard to talk in this way because I'm not talking to another person. And again, that goes back to difficulty with talking to oneself, but at the same time, I'm not even necessarily talking to myself. I'm talking to an audience, whoever's gonna watch this. And so it's really strange and a whole new form of communication, I guess. It's like communication to the present void, but the future will fill that with people, if that makes any sense. So anyways, why I kind of started thinking about this and just vocalizing more and using vocalization as like showing your untapped emotions, I guess, is that when I was walking along the sand dunes, there was this family that showed up right as I was leaving, and they turned the corner, the same corner that I did, and they see the sunset over the sand. And it's this breathtaking moment where you're like, holy shit, this is so cool. I've never seen anything like this before. Like, this is amazing. And this kid got to the top of the little crest and he was like, oh my God, what? Like, he was so excited. And it was the cutest thing ever. And it just made me, one, think about how unfiltered kids are in expressing their emotions in that way, just kind of like yelling and screaming, which, you know, we repress as we get older, is just not having that filter and saying how we feel. And I get that there are societal expectations and standards that prevent us from having no filter. But I don't know, when I saw that kid so excited, I was like, man, like, I really wish I was that excited. You know, like, when I got to the top of that crest, I kind of was just like, like, not even a physical gasp, but just like an internal gasp. And that just doesn't seem as big of a gesture in terms of expressing how I really feel. And I know this is going on a really long tangent now, but I want to show how I feel more. And so if you're still confused or wondering as to why I am talking to the camera suddenly, I mean, like, that's not something that I would even see myself doing, really, is that I want to communicate. I want to be emotionally open. And I feel like in the context of this journey, communicating in this way makes the most sense. And I know I kind of talked about that before already, but I feel like this is the most direct form of communication that I can have. Talking in the moment, saying how I feel, and not having a script, because that is a very specific and like curated way to say something. And I'm sure I'll utilize some of that form of storytelling in this video, but overall I wanted it to feel a little more raw. Anyways, I need to go to bed. It's a little after 10. I do kind of want to go back to the sand dunes in the morning and not film and not have that pressure, and kind of like, I felt like I was viewing the whole scenery through a screen, which is not good. And while I do enjoy filming a lot, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this trip, is to film and share this experience, but this is also a personal journey, adventure, and I want to be able to enjoy it outside of screen time, you know what I mean? But I will see you soon. I am driving a little bit less tomorrow, but I am still going to be camping. I don't have a reservation anywhere, but there are a few first come, first served places that I'm going to scope out. So fingers crossed that works out. But yeah, I'm still just a little bit stressed about things working out well, because things are okay. Things are going fine, but I am still anticipating something even worse happening. So anyways, I bid thee good night, and I will see you soon. The next morning, I ended up hiking out to the sand dunes again with my breakfast, with the intention of enjoying this insanely magical place without the pressure of capturing it through a screen. I was trying to be strict by not taking any photos at all, but I did see some cool lizard and snake tracks that I wanted to document and get a couple photos on my film camera. After my small crisis about feeling like filming this trip was going to take me completely out of the present moment and therefore not fully enjoy everything I was seeing, I thought that maybe having strict designated times where I didn't take any photos would be a good idea. But I felt like that was too restrictive. Rather, I wanted to rethink my intention around why I was filming something. I don't want to have my reason for filming as just this pressure to get the perfect shot because I have to, because I need to make this video, but rather because I enjoy capturing the small and beautiful things I'm curious about or feel awe over. In other words, to just enjoy the process and not worry too much about the final product. Because why even take a road trip at all when all you care about is the photos you take at the end? So as I went forth in my journey, I tried to keep this in mind. I think I was fairly successful in maintaining a balance between filming time and more me time, but this started to form another quandary in my head that was even more difficult to tackle, something I've struggled with for a long time. I want to share all of my thoughts and potential revelations about it in the place where I tackled this issue the most, which was my next destination after the sand dunes. So, I will see you in the next episode if you are so inclined to stay tuned for that. And I thank you all for watching this first episode of this Pacific Northwest travel series. I'm so excited to share how the journey unfolds. See you soon.